All right, let's try this out. The hell did you give me?
Chocolate salmon shake.
I thought you were kidding.
Are we actually recording?
Yes.
How was your chocolate salmon shake?
It's incredible. Tastes like malted milk.
Yeah. So, and that is completely keto and carb friendly.
Really?
Yes.
That is fantastic.
So I'm going to give a little shout out to a friend of ours, Matt Keith.
Oh. Nice. Hey, Matt.
So we're over at his house the other day, and he's got this big jar of this protein powder stuff, but it says MRE Light on it. And I'm like, I've never seen this one before, and I like protein shakes and stuff. So he's like, dude, he goes, it's totally keto friendly, and I look at it, and sure enough, it's like no carbs in it, no sugar. I'm like, So bought it on Amazon. It's cheap enough.
Yeah.
And it's apparently mostly salmon and chicken protein powder.
Interesting.
So it's mostly powdered salmon and cocoa powder and stuff. And there's different flavors. They got Snickers. This is the chocolate fudge brownie.
I was going to say, that this tastes straight up like a malted milk ball to me, and I love those things.
They got Snickerdoodles. They have all sorts of... Now, this is with... I just made it with regular milk, but you can make it with almond milk. And
This, like, frozen into like an ice cream would be awesome.
man, you're onto something. I might have to do that.
We have access to an ice cream machine.
We do.
A big one, too.
So I mean, this is the third one I've had today. I probably shouldn't be drinking this much of it because I think I've now officially had 300 times my daily intake of protein. But
Nice. No,
you want to continue talking about bodybuilding stuff, or do you want to talk about trucks or 4x4s or something?
That's still bodybuilding. We can relate it.
All right, let's do it, man.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
This is really good.
Are we still going?
Oh, yeah, we're still going. I didn't stop.
This is really good. You're still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheap enough. It's like $28 for a gallon of it or whatever. So anyways, all right. Just before the show, you were saying that you had an idea about doing some sort of...
Oh, yeah. Hypothetical.
A hypothetical for me or for us or what? What do you...
Well, we can go back and forth with it a bit.
Okay, what's your hypothetical?
So we got into a conversation at work the other day, a couple days ago there, about, your hypothetical, you win the lottery. What are you building or what are you buying?
Okay,
Strictly speaking, vehicles here. You can buy a brand new, whatever you want, or fully restored, whatever you want. We're going to keep this 4x4 only.
Okay.
You get to pick one vehicle, and then however you're going to outfit it.
All right, so what are my parameters? How much did I win the lottery for?
Enough that you could build anything you wanted.
So I hit the Mega Millions or something.
Sure. All right, $500 million.
Oh, jeez.
After taxes.
After taxes.
And after you share some with me.
Okay, all right. And oh, wow. And so...
That was kind of where I went.
Do I have to spend it all on the vehicle?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, I mean, you could go down buy a little Jeep Cherokee from the guy down the road for $500 and call it done. Or you could, I don't know, buy your one of whatever in the world. You could buy the prototype of the Cybertruck and then turn it into a diesel with axles from an MRAP.
Oh, man. Okay. So, that's a really interesting question. I do like this question because my idea of a dream vehicle continues to change all the time. I am becoming more and more drawn to utility type overlanders. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be a simple answer to go out and say I'm going to buy an Earth Roamer or something, okay? But I don't know that that's the route that I'd want to go. I'm not sure. So it changes every day. I think it'd be more fun for me to at least answer this. Like, how would I build something?
We'll go with this too, just because you got the whole family thing. This is your personal vehicle. So we're going to take any of the family, anybody else, doesn't matter. This is what you want to build.
Well,
You for you.
me for me. And
whether you want to build it or have it built is irrelevant.
But I want to build it. I don't want to just
Okay.
say I'm going to go out. That's what I'm saying. To go
Yeah.
out and just say I'm going to plunk down $500,000 on an off-road Earth Roamer, or I'm going to go, or more if you go like the big XV we talked
Yeah.
about before for 2.5. So that's the lazy man's out, or to go say I'm going to go get a Carlman King, as we talked about way in the early days of this episode.
Yeah, episode 4.
Or this issue.
I only
this
know that
podcast.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about that yesterday.
Okay.
And I actually shared him a link to the episode. Hope you listen, Kyle, and I hope you keep listening to the show. So.
All right. So, all right. I think personally, right now, I would probably. Well, okay, all right. Because obviously we have to set our own personal parameters. We have to think about this a little bit, and I got to put some reality to the situation in my mind because
Okay.
my quote unquote dream vehicle as of today would fit my lifestyle as of today, which includes my job. Mm-hmm. So I would end up building something to drive daily to my job. But the reality is, if I win $500 million, I'm quitting my job that I have now. I love where I work. In fact, I even posted on Wheeling a link to it's Blue Star Demolition. I've never said it. I've never said it before, but we're hiring $18 an hour.
Excuse me.
In Michigan. And really, you don't have to have any requirement. We train you. So if it's something that somebody's interested in working with me, working in the demolition trades, that's my day job. A great company to work for. I love working for them. So shout out to Blue Star. But so let's say I won this $500,000 or
$500 million,
$500 million.
Yeah. We can make it 10 million if that makes it easier.
No. The number doesn't matter. You're just moving zeros.
Yeah.
So I could answer it with I would build something for my job that I would drive every day, and I have one way of answering that. But knowing that I'd leave Blue Star and I would probably, like I said, I'd a couple of weeks notice or what, I finish out the project I'm on. I'm not going to just be like, oh, I'm gone. I got money. I'd be like, all right, well, let's finish out the season or whatever. And then, thinking from that way, I would have to say I'm going to build something that is going to fit my new lifestyle that, I'm not necessarily going to be lifestyles of the rich and famous, balling, going out there and, buying a McMansion and, I'd upgrade house. Mm-hmm. I would do that. I might move to.
We're going strictly vehicle.
No.
Anything else?
Well, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You gotta think this way. So it's like, okay.
You're going way deeper into this than we.
Well, here's the deal, though. Well, you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
You wanted to do this. So for me to say something like, oh, I'm going to build this crazy rat rod, knowing full well that I'm probably now going to live in maybe a oceanside house in Hawaii or Florida or something like that.
At least you didn't say California.
Yeah, no, most likely not.
No.
So I'm going to live in this. I'm going to, is it going to be a toy? Is it going to be my daily driver? Is it going to be whatever? I'm going to something to match. So I got to say, oh man, it's tough. It's tough. Probably, because I still am kind of a humble dude. I probably got to say it'd be very similar to what my work vehicle would be, but I would. Now, is this for off-roading or is this just any 4x4?
It's got to be 4x4. That was the only real restriction that we put on this in our conversation.
I think. So probably my favorite trucks I've had of all time for quote unquote trucks, not SUVs, although the one kind of is the 60 to 66 Chevy and GMC trucks. Love them. I love the lines of them, very crisp lines. It's Chevy's first full-size truck, wider body. I'm 6'2". I fit in those trucks a little bit better than I do in the earlier trucks. And I love my old stuff. Now, I had a 64 Chevy panel truck that was two-wheel drive. You could get from the factory four-wheel drive in those. They're kind of rare. So, what I've kind of always thought would be super cool, and this would be, like I said, a modification of what I would maybe do for work. Look for a 60 to 66, probably even more specifically a 64 to 66 Chevy or GMC panel truck. Long wheelbase, 1-ton one. So you know what the panel trucks are, right? Where it's all sides. Then from that point, I would take and have rear doors fabricated on the side, because they were 2 doors in the front and then you had their bound doors in the back. I'd have 2 more doors added to it and then windows in the back to make a 4-door 63 to 66 Suburban. They never made, they made Suburbans back then, but they were 2-door short wheelbase. So essentially making a long wheelbase, like it'd be the same dimensions as a modern Suburban. Then what I would probably do is go pretty similar to a modern Suburban interior. Probably not leather, maybe, as long as I had heated and cooled seats and all that. But I'd go modern amenities and stuff on the inside. But then I'd power this thing by a nice simple like 12-valve Cummins.
I like it.
Hooked to probably a G56 6-speed manual. Definitely at that point got to go to an ORD doubler from our friend Stephen Watson, Off-Road Design, who we've had on the show twice now. And I've always wanted one of his ORD doublers, and I tell you what, I'd have to put one of those in there. I would then probably put it on new coil spring Super Duty axles. So I got the Dana 60 and then, the big Sterling or whatever I decided to put in the back. Probably somewhere around a 3 to 4 inch lift, real minor, with some taller, narrower tires. So maybe go to like a 37 1250 or a 40 1350. Not real wide. And I don't want to go with like 20s or 24s. I'm not that kind of stuff. I'd want to keep it. I'd almost
hate big rims.
To me, exactly. To me, I'd probably even go with steel rims with original style hubcaps. I'd want to, if you can picture this truck, I'd want to, basically, I love Phantoms, vehicles that never existed but could have.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 4-door Suburban that's been mildly and tastefully updated, that kind of has that Napco look to it. But like I said, it's still you got the coil springs in the front now. And so it's not a hardcore off-road vehicle, but it's a vehicle that you can feel comfortable driving that thing to a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Pulling in and, real classy, nice paint. I'm not talking rat rod at this point. I'm talking like maybe that kind of like ocean blue or a teal or something. Maybe a gunmetallic silver or something. Something where you can pull in and maybe that's even something else. The interior with like maybe some real deep, almost like the Longhorn edition and the King Ranch edition dark saddle leather on the inside.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
With some wood accents on the ceiling and stuff. Do like the long wood mahogany strips, almost like a classic boat on the inside.
That stuff really sticks to your mouth.
Have you seen the treatment where they build the 4-door power wagons, the vintage power wagons? They build them as 4 doors, and then they do the same thing with the vintage carryalls.
I don't think I have seen that, no. Not much. If I have, it's not registering.
I think they're awesome. They're beautiful. I love them. But they're such narrow vehicles, and I'm such a big guy that I just think I'd be more comfortable in that Chevy GMC. So to me, something to do that. But then something camping for the weekend or exploring the backcountry with the family, or just myself, like you said. Something I could fold the seat down in the back. I can throw a sleeping bag in there. And, I mean, chances are if I'm worth $500 million, I'm not staying in a hotel or a tent. Or, I mean, not staying in a tent anymore. But I'm not a big tent camper guy. But I think
that's why you have your Earth Roamer.
Well, yeah, there you go. I had multiple vehicles. I mean, The right answer for me would be multiple vehicles.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking the one hypothetical there.
But right there, I mean, that to me, that's a build that I have thought about for years. I love the 63, 66, 64 to 66 Chevy and GMC panel trucks and trucks, the Suburbans. I love that style.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is the front doors are wider on the last half of the early 60s models there. So it's a little more comfortable getting in and out. And I just think that, you know, there was a company back in the day called Stageway and another one called Armbruster. And they did make 4-door Suburbans out of the panel trucks.
Nice.
If there's one still in existence out there, I don't know where it's at. I saw pictures of an old rusty one once.
Nice.
So I think you'd have to make your own.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So, you know, if I got to hire this out, you're talking extensive metal work. You're talking, you know, you're probably talking 50, 60.
Whether you're doing it or whether it's being done, that's irrelevant. It's what you want. Whatever you want.
I could easily see, you know, you'd be spending $60,000-$70,000 in metal work. You'd be spending maybe just as much in interior work. Obviously, I'm not just going to throw some greasy junkyard 12-valve Cummins in there. I'm going to buy a completely remanufactured or brand new one if they still make them. I'm not sure. I'm still going to stick with my manual. I like my manuals. And I just think that combination would just be so slick. And it'd be a beautiful looking truck. It had that classic vintage lines, but yet it's still got enough interior room where you're not cramped like in the really vintage stuff where you have the tiny cabs and all that. So it's about as old as you can go. I mean, Ford had wider trucks back in 57, 58. And that's another way you could go with it. I've thought about doing the same thing with using a 57, 58 Ford panel truck and extending it.
Didn't you start, or you had one of those at one point in time, didn't you?
Not a 57, 50. I had a 48 Ford panel truck, and I
remember that.
Yeah, and I had a 64 Chevy panel truck.
Okay.
Those are the two panel trucks.
One of them I remember seeing then at the old house.
Yeah,
one of the old ones.
The Ford never ran. I got it. It had a 383 Chrysler in it that didn't run. But the 64 Chevy panel truck I drove. I'm sorry, I keep saying 64. My C10 was a 64. The panel truck was a 66 the last year of that body style.
Nice.
I had a 230 straight six 3-speed manual on the floor, and I drove that thing for thousands and thousands of miles. And it was it was so rusty, but it was such a reliable vehicle.
Yeah.
In fact, there you go, listeners. I am still somewhat looking for and like I said, I would go all the way back to a 60, but I'd really prefer another 64 to 66 Chevy or GMC. 1 ton, because mine was the half-ton short wheelbase, which was really cool. But I think I want to go with the long wheelbase this time. I'm not saying I would snuff a short wheelbase, but if somebody's got one out there, I'm just not looking to get into a complete rust bucket on this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to buy somebody's completed project. So if somebody's got one where they're like, yeah, maybe $2,000 or something, and it's a clean body, but it's not, no running gear or whatever, I might be interested because, reach out somehow. I really want to do another one of those someday.
That'd be cool.
Or do one, because I drove one every day. But
yeah.
So, John, I mean, here I am talking, as I do a lot. I'm a talker. I know you're over there enjoying your salmon shake. But
that was delicious. It kind of lingers for a bit after, and I apologize. I keep clearing.
I think that's the artificial sweeteners or the milk or whatever.
That's usually milk will do that to me.
I want to make it with almond milk next time. But,
that could be good.
Yeah,
I don't want to know how you get the almond milk.
Almond milk normally tastes like kerosene to me, but I think that's got enough flavor in it that it might cover that.
It could, or it could really emphasize the salmonness of it. I don't really get that. I don't really get any of those notes. It's fantastic.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So tell me, what would you build with? Do you have this all written down? You got notes?
No, I mean we started snowballing the idea at work there, and then customers came in, and we had to get back to work. So.
Okay.
No, I would definitely start out with probably 4-door Wrangler was where I was going with the whole thing. I would definitely do like that saddle leather seat. I had not thought of that the other night. First and foremost, two things to do. If there's plastic on the outside, it's gone.
Okay.
I hate the plastic fenders or flares that they have on those. That would be made into metal. Probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 inch, something like a nice solid long arm lift kit on the thing. I'm in between on the axles. I love the idea of going with like the Rockjack or the Dynatrac 60s. Dynatrac 60s?
I take back my last one. Instead of going Super Duty axles, I want to go Dynatrac 60s.
Yeah, I'm thinking those. And I don't remember if those portal boxes, if they make them for those or not. But I would definitely do the portal boxes if they're available for those axles.
Man, I can't believe you meant that you just brought that up, because I was originally, when you posed the question, I was thinking about doing the Axle Tech portals or something. And
that would be cool.
I completely just out my mind. But yeah, I think that'd be a really cool way to do it too.
Yeah, driveline wise, absolutely rip out the engine and the transmission. I want to do a diesel engine. I'd love to do a 12 valve, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, if the money's no object situation here, maybe one of the new modern diesels. Just ones that runs a little smoother, a little quieter.
That's a big thing for me too.
Yeah,
and that's
I
what
mean,
I've
I
thought
love the
about.
old ones, but if I'm going to be dumping this much custom money into something like that, then I might just step it up just a little bit.
I would say in my Suburban idea that I was talking about, obviously it would fit. The new Duramaxes are getting pretty respectable.
I think I'd go with a Cummins still.
Would you?
Yeah, just I like to keep it all the same family, so to speak.
Okay.
I definitely at least a 5-speed manual, like one of the Tremec 4050s. I think those are 5 speeds, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, something along those lines. Again, newer, more updated, stupid strong transmission. I hadn't really thought of the transfer case. I mean, I don't know what options I'd have coming out of that, to go to the axles at that point. I mean, obviously, it would be something big and beefy, of course.
I really like the idea of doublers because you can do a standard transfer case with a standard low range because, when you're in something like, even when we were on Ultimate Adventure, Chad and I, and we had the Rubicon 4-to-1 transfer case, there was a few times where you needed that mid-range gear.
Yeah.
Now, with a manual, it's a little easier to put it in third gear, 4 low, and you can go. But there's some times where you're going a little bit faster, and you find yourself in 4th or 5th gear in 4 low. It's kind of just an odd thing. The doublers really do offer...
and that on top of the portals would be sweet.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then as far as the tires, something like 37s, I'm thinking. Wheels would be determined by the portal. I don't know what size wheels I'd have to do because of the portals.
I think you have to run 18s or 20s with them.
Which just means I have to go to the bigger tire and maybe more lift, I guess.
I mean, I think four-door Wranglers on 42s look pretty slick.
Yeah.
You run 42s on a 20-inch wheel. You're with like some
that wouldn't look bad.
beadlock wheels or something.
Oh yeah, definitely beadlocks.
Especially
Absolutely
if
beadlocks.
you go to like the Trail Readies or something, you got that wide band, so the wheel doesn't look that big.
All right, yeah, you make a
I
valid point.
I always kind of like
yeah.
that where they would do that. They had that wide beadlock on them, and now it takes away from having that just big rim look.
Yeah. No, on top of that, I mean, definitely, body armor everywhere. Maybe an exo cage, maybe not. I'd have to, adjust the build as needed with that.
Okay.
The biggest thing that I'd do, and I don't think a lot of people would necessarily think about this one, I would rip the entirety of the dash system out. I would go completely custom dash, keep it simple with a gauge cluster, nice stereo.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know how I'd redesign for the HVAC controls. I haven't figured that one out.
Go with like a Vintage Air standalone system or
something. Yeah, something nice and simple.
It's all analog, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is... I don't know where I'm going with that. I don't like the window switches in the center. They have those manual crank windows, don't they? I feel stupid having to ask that question.
I think they do.
I can't remember if the 4 doors are new enough to not have that now.
I think you can get them with crank windows. Mine did not, and I hated that, having them in the middle. It was stupid.
Yeah, because, if they don't have it, then they'll have it in this project.
Yeah, just have them made up.
And then I'd probably continue that saddle leather on the dash. Any of the coverings with that, wrap the steering wheel
nice
in
triple
it.
stitching with like the white stitching or something.
Yes, I love that. I saw that on a King Ranch F-150 when I was working at the dealership.
Yeah.
The smell in that vehicle was heavenly.
Oh, I know.
Oh, my God. It was incredible.
There's a number of people that have done the King Ranch upgrade into an Excursion. They've taken a King Ranch 250, 350 interior.
I found a set of seats on Marketplace a while back from one.
How much, though?
Like $600.
That's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
You can flip them for like $2,500.
Maybe they were more, or maybe I'm just thinking
or they
of
were all
else.
ripped up or something. A lot of them,
could be.
Unfortunately, sweat and dirt tended to really ingrain in them.
Yeah.
And even though they were very durable leather,
and that might be some. Maybe I would get them dyed black, because I prefer darker leather, and I think like a worn dark leather like that might look pretty sharp.
well,
Maybe not.
And it would. I saw the most beautiful hot rod interior that I've ever seen in my entire life. I remember this. I want to say it was at Detroit Autorama. And it was maybe a Might have been a 32 Ford Roadster or something. It wasn't the car itself was not like I don't want to say belly button. It was not like a super uncommon car or anything like that. But they had done a pretty vintage build with it, and the interior was this, kind of that real light tan leather, and it was really tastefully done. Kind of like I guess not really a tuck and roll, but it had the vintagey look to it.
Yeah.
And I got talking to the guy about the car, and he says, touch the seat. And I touched the seat, and it was the softest leather I've ever felt. And he goes, yeah, that's all doe skin leather. He did the whole thing in deer leather. And,
wow.
And it felt like
that could
velour.
be cool, too.
Yeah, and it's tough. It is tough. Deer leather is tough.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, I could see doing that or something, too.
I think I'm going to still stick with the saddle leather because I'm excessively hard on things, and I know that'll hold up to everything I can throw at it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else I'd do. I mean, that was pretty much all I want in a vehicle is that. I mean, that's a lot, I realize, but I think that would be a pretty sweet build.
Still pretty conservative.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go crazy. I don't want electronics. I mean, I want a good stereo.
Now you're thinking JK or JL? Because you said Ford or Wrangler, but or are you thinking about stretching a TJ or a CJ?
So I've always had the idea to bastardize the TJ LJ thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've mentioned this officially on the podcast yet. I know I've talked to you about it. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the last couple episodes or not. So the rust is getting pretty bad on Pegasus.
Yeah, you've mentioned it.
I'll do some pretty stupid stuff with vehicles. I'm getting uncomfortable driving it right now, and it's a lot more concern than I've had before with this thing. I mean, a couple of the body mounts were gone or going, and now, you go over a bump and you hear things crunching.
Oh.
Yeah, so Project XJ is bumping to the back of the forefront. I'm thinking my next day of work is this coming Tuesday. So I think I'm going to start clearing the garage and resetting the garage to start working out there again.
Okay.
Because I want that done by the end of summer. I want to start driving that. I want that for this winter without a doubt. So I'm going to start on that again. And I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, you were just saying you were going to have XJ done by 2031, and, that's...
No.
Well, you were talking about we were talking about the four-door. I'd asked you if you were going to do the four-door.
Oh, yeah. So basically what that means, the TJ is going to get parked for a little bit. So what I'm maybe contemplating, and don't tell my mom this, I don't think she listens, so she won't hear this and be mad at me. While it's parked for a while, maybe try to track down a wrecked LJ, and rather than fix the entire back half of the body on my TJ, because I want to cut that out anyways, maybe the next stage in the Pegasus project will be the custom four-door.
Yeah, but with an LJ body on the back of a TJ like that as a four-door, that thing's going to be as long as a crew cab pickup truck.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
It's kind of narrow looking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Four-door long wheelbase, though. Leg room in the back seats.
It'll be interesting.
That would be like a 6-passenger vehicle at that point.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, I'm not planning to use the rear seat, but wow. All right, I didn't think of that. Huh.
What?
I never accounted for the rear seat. I accounted for the driver passenger seat and the LJ being the rear seats to the TJ.
Yeah.
I never accounted for the cargo space.
Well, I think it's a great build because by the time you have all that interior room, and it's going to be a great place for you to live because your mom's not going to be letting you live in the house anymore.
True story. True story.
So you can just live in the back of your extended Jeep.
That would be cool, though.
Oh, my God.
No, so that one's the bucket list project. I think it's doable. I think it's very, very doable. The only trick, obviously, being finding a wrecked LJ that'll go something I can afford.
Well, I've got an idea for you there that money-wise, you might be just as good off going to Aqualoo out of Canada and having them build you an aluminum tub to the specifications you want, because they will modify any of their existing designs.
Really?
Yeah, so they make Jeep 4-door tubs. They make Land Cruiser 4-door tubs.
I didn't even think about
They
that.
make all sorts of interesting things. So if you wanted a TJ, say I want a TJ or CJ or whatever whatever J version of the Jeep you want.
Yeah.
And tell them that you want to, you want it this dimensions and you want, because they're a custom body builder over there, and their prices are pretty reasonable too.
Well, in that case, I wonder if they could just make me what I want.
Well, that's what they do. They just make you a body tub.
Huh.
And then you'd have to. I think they can make you a frame too, but you could make your own frame.
The frame, I'm gonna probably run just all tube steel, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean that's what the entire center section is right now. There is a kit I know you can buy for these to do that with the entire rear frame section as well.
Yeah.
Some of that's a little more questionable than I thought too. So if I do the long arm lift that I want to do on this thing, all those mounts, all of that pivots off the skid plate mount to the center section, which is already heavy duty. So I don't have to worry about any of the frame mount side of almost anything but the track bar.
You can buy a rolling like 05 to newer Ford chassis with axles. Those Super Duty chassis, those are super heavy duty.
Yeah.
Coil springs, Dana 60 front, all this and that. You could buy one of those and just use that for the body, kind of like Peterson's did years ago when they put the JK 4-door on the Ram 2500 chassis.
I don't remember that build.
That's the Cummins one they did. That was the ultimate JK they did. 12-valve Cummins NV45.
Why don't I remember that?
Was it a 12-valve? It was a Cummins NV4500, and then they put it on a shortened Dodge Ram chassis.
I have no memory of this build. That must have been after I stopped reading the magazine.
No, this is early. This is real early. This is
that would be.
This was it was like a forest green JK. I want to say it was 07, 08, right in there. It was right when the JKs came out.
I was going to say that very easily could be because I didn't meet you until 2008. I think it was 2007, 2008. So that would explain why I don't remember because I didn't know.
Yeah, so that would be, but it would be cool.
Interesting too. Yeah,
you do it that way, and then now you've got this heavy duty chassis. Ford does build one of the best chassis out there right now for strength and rust prevention. The Dodge chassis are a little thinner and they tend to rust, and then Chevy's all IFS. So. Back to that's another one you could build. Going back to your money's no object with the new Kodiaks now that are solid axle again. Chevy's first 4-wheel drive solid axle since 09.
Nice.
With the, you go with the 4500 through 7500 Kodiak and super singlet. You could build a heck of a big truck out of that.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
That's another one that. There's so many good ones you could do out there.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you guys get on this subject the other day?
I don't even remember. I have no idea how we got to that.
No?
We were just talking about something. Like I said, we had a little bit of dip in customers at the moment, and I have no idea how we got on it. That happens a lot.
Well, it's the if you won, what would you do, and travel the world and do this.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. There's a lot of places I want to go, a lot of things I want to see one day, hopefully. And just kind of go from there. So
it's a fun exercise, but the thing is, it kind of told us about both each other is we still stayed pretty conservative.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we're saying,
I didn't tell you about the gold-plated paint I'm planning, did I?
Yeah. Diamond studded rims or anything like that. That's
rattle can ultra black.
I mean, that's one way of doing it.
Actually, I saw this paint. I shared a video on my personal Facebook page of it. I'm trying to remember what they call it. It's like super black.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, and the guy, it shows him painting a room in this paint, and it cuts out 99% of visible light. Mm-hmm. And it shows the camera standing there. He's like, I'm going to turn this light bulb on. Click. And you see him and nothing else. And he laid out like the measurements of the room. It was like, I don't know, he's standing in the center 6 foot all the way around to the walls. But it's just him standing there. It absorbed so much of that light. It was so cool.
Hey, that they do some neat stuff with that.
I want to do my room in that.
room.
My room at home. The walls need some paint, a little bit of patching, and I would love to get a hold of that paint to do my room in that. How cool would that be? You see just like a frame matted on a black background, but it looks like it's just floating. That would be so cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. All right, so now that we are talking about colors and paint and stuff like that, I'm gonna come over.
Chameleon paint.
Okay, all right.
I'd have to do it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the background story.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna come over quickly. I'm gonna show you one picture, and then I'm gonna have to come do the second one. But anyways.
Okay.
So, one of our job sites. Now, this is not my job site. It's one of the other foremen that works for us.
Say, if you want, text me the pictures if you can, and then we don't have to leave the mic.
Okay. Well, so I'll try that.
Okay.
I will definitely try that right now. So they're going to. How the heck do I text this thing? I got to save it first. It looks like, and then.
Cell phones 101 with Keith and John.
Yeah. I know this is pretty bad, isn't this?
It's all good.
All right. So let me.
I remember like 6-7 years
Text
ago.
or
You
Facebook
didn't even
message?
have a text. You didn't even have a smartphone. You still had like a Nokia flip phone.
Yeah, I never had a Nokia. I had.
Or Motorola.
Nextels.
Motorola.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're walking in.
And something.
Our project manager is walking into this new job site that we're going to open up, and I'm probably going to have to run over and show you this here in a second. He walks in, and he goes into it's kind of an abandoned building of sorts. Mm-hmm. There's no lights, and someone had taken along the one wall, and they had punched a hole in the wall with like the head of a hammer. It's like perfect quarter size whap. Into the drywall. And the drywall was covering an old window.
Ha.
So there's a light beam, almost like a laser beam, kind of coming through. And you can see it in the darkness.
Creepy.
Yeah. And he said, so they're standing there, and they're talking about the job site, and he keeps seeing something out of the corner of his eye. And he thought it was moving. And he's like, he thought it was bats or something. He's trying to figure out what it is. And he's like, what the heck is going on? And he's looking, and he keeps seeing this thing, and he can't quite figure out what he's looking at. So he pulls out his camera, and he takes a picture, okay? And so I'm going to show you picture number 1. Don't go scrolling, because you'll know the surprise.
I'm not scrolling through your phone.
No. I'm going to show you picture number 1.
Okay.
So look at this.
Okay. Is that like a mirror on top, or is that a cutaway to something on the other side of the wall? Okay. Whoa. Is it the thing on the top?
You're looking at like a drywall wall.
Okay.
Okay. So anyways, so it's like he's standing there and he's got this picture and he doesn't capture what he's looking at. So he's like, okay. And then he realized he had his flash on his camera. Because he can still kind of see through the haze of his eyes that there's something screwy.
There's something looks like a tiny little reflection towards the top right of that picture. Like an eyeball from a cat or something.
So he takes off the flash and takes picture number 2.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you this one now.
Okay.
And I'll give you the phone and then you can just keep it and I'll come back here. So.
Okay. Whoa.
Do you know what you're looking at?
No.
You can't figure that out.
It's an upside down building.
It is an upside down building.
That is trippy.
That is the Detroit Athletic Club.
Ha!
And it's about half a mile away from the job site.
Wow.
And the light refracting, there's a whole thing coming through the atmosphere and going through that tiny pinhole. And because the way when light goes through small holes like that, it turns it upside down. That was a live image. They could see birds flying by. That was a live photographic image.
That is so cool.
Now tell me that is not where the story of ghosts and stuff come from.
Yeah.
Is that is literally a ghost picture of a building.
That is so cool.
Isn't that the weirdest thing ever?
If you put a prism on that, you could rotate it.
Yeah, I know.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And so they were all freaked out about it. And it's hilarious because, one of the guys, there was a little bit of a conspiracy theorist and he's all thinking they're trying to beam radio waves into his head. And it's like, no, dude, it's an optical thing. It's kind of like how a mirage works or whatever.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Never seen anything like that before, though, huh?
No.
That's pretty wild.
That's actually the Detroit Athletic Club does some training with our facility.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's their building, but
that
it's
is
upside
awesome.
down in this ghostly image
It is so
through
cool.
the light beam.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty odd deal, man.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I don't know what the actual photo word would be for it, but it's definitely weird.
Yeah.
Well, you still
That's
heard you say
awesome.
something. Oh,
No, sorry. I was thinking it might be refracting.
yeah, it might be.
I think that's what it is.
Might be. So, hey,
Anyways, that's cool.
besides your TJ that's falling apart rapidly, you got any and trying to get the XJ going? You got any other projects going on with the trucks, cars, anything like that?
Not really vehicle projects, some gun projects. That's about it. Just some restorations I'm working on. I'm starting restoration on a cool old 22 that belongs to my buddy. It actually belonged to his uncle. And so this, I'm sure we could find a way to relate this to automotive. We have an old pistol at work. It was an old a trade-in, something somebody didn't want anymore kind of deal. We put it up for sale, and I've made an offer on it. I want this thing now that I know what it is. It's an old Webley top brake revolver.
Oh, that's a classic.
It's cool. It's very cool. I mean, it's a project one. There's a lot of play in the cylinder, so it's kind of dangerous to actually fire until
That's
that's
a very
fixed.
collectible early. Is it British or is that American?
It's British.
I thought they were British. Yeah.
So